everybody. Welcome into the Queen Sports Network. As always, I'm Mike Glennon. We welcome you back in to get to know the Royals, and we got a special edition for you as it's indoor track and field season, and we want to welcome our newest head coach to the Queen's ranks, and that, of course, is Jake Krolick. And Jake, thank you so much for coming on and talking with us, and a big welcome to you here to the Queen's family.
Really excited to be here. It's been a very exciting 2 weeks that I've been here so far. Got a lot accomplished. Kind of reinforces that I know I'm at the right place just with getting to know everybody and all the great things we've already got done in the first 2 weeks. So really excited what we can do heading into the track season.
Well, it's funny you say that because I was just about to say the team is obviously doing well, the preseason #1 favorite coming into this season, and you having to come in more or less drinking from a fire hose, if you will, with all the stuff that you've had going on. I know your first weekend was the opening weekend of indoor track and field season, and you guys were split all over the country. So a big welcome in, and of course, a big shout out to you just kind of jumping in, of course, and just taking over. But this is obviously something that you love to do.
It's like you said, it was a crazy first week. We sent the team in 3 different directions, and that was 5 days after I got here. But like I said, everybody's so supportive in the administration with teaching me how to do things. The coaches that are still here did a great job kind of having things prepared. So I just kind of got to come in, observe and learn and get to enjoy some of the success that happened right away. I can't take credit for what happened that first weekend, but very excited to be a part of it and be able to just only keep things moving forward now that I get to be leading the way for this group.
I like that. A humble guy, of course. And, looking, it kind of reminds me of coming in last semester myself and the amount of work that goes into it. But like you said, such a great family environment to be a part of. Everybody is so willing to jump out there and help you in whatever way they possibly can. So, like I say, a big welcome to you. And, you're now becoming the 3rd person to lead all 4 programs. You compete in 6 different seasons. So it's a lot of work, I know. But you come off spending 5 seasons as the head cross-country coach and assistant track and field coach of West Texas A&M. First off, kind of what led you to Queens, and what are you most excited for about being here?
So my connections with Queens go back to 2014, 2015, and meeting previous coach Jim Varenkamp at coaches convention, USTF CCCA coaches convention, and that's where I'm at right now. So continuing the fellowship and networking and sharing of knowledge here. So that's where my connection went with Jim, and I was going to come down and volunteer with Jim back in 2015. I was there for 3 days, and then I ended up getting shipped off to Texas A&M Commerce by Jim. So we really started to begin our relationship and build our friendship after that point, and just stayed in touch over the last 7 years that I was in Texas. And so I've kind of had a little bit of an eye on Queens ever since that point, entertained the idea of coming back sooner, but the timing just wasn't right. I really loved everything that was going on at Queens over the last 7 years, and got to kind of have a little bit of an inside scoop on things, talking with Jim pretty regularly. Awesome. So when this opportunity presented itself and Jim said he was going to North Dakota, I was like, I really don't want to go to North Dakota, but I would love to go to
Sure.
Charlotte. So the process got into motion. I got to speak with Sherry a bit and a couple of the other coaches on staff, and every single person that I interacted with, every single interaction that I had through the interview process just reinforced everything, my perspective coming in, that this was a place that you could be successful. Being at West Texas A&M, I'd like to say I know what success looks like. So I wanted to find a place that looked similar, that I saw as being successful, not just in track and field and cross country, but successful across all sports, because that tells me that when you have a successful athletic department, you have great leadership, great administration. And we had that at West Texas A&M. And I've been very much excited about what I've seen in the short time I've been at Queens, to know that we have that same support here. And I know that I'm going to be able to do exactly what I want to do and need to do to continue the trajectory of this program, and hopefully take it to new levels with time. So really excited about what I've seen here so far. Like we said, the family that's here. Yeah. I've got to know the student athletes a lot. And like I said, every interaction I've had has had me so much more excited than I was the day before. I think I had 60 individual meetings over the last 2 weeks with all of the athletes here, just trying to trying to understand why they're at Queens, what's so great about the university, what's been great about their experience here. So I feel like I've learned in about 2 weeks as much as maybe I could have learned it 2 years some other places, or 2 months. So it's been really productive. Got to start building some relationships with some of the athletes, some of the people on
Sure.
throughout the department. And that's really where it all starts. I'd love to say that it comes down to the training and the coaching, but I really believe it starts with the relationships and building the foundation. And that's my philosophy on things. And I really think that with everything that I've seen so far at Queens, that philosophy is going to fit in right where it needs to be. And we're going to be able to really hit the ground running, literally, here at Queens.
Sure, I wasn't going to let that pun go, but yeah, no, it's one of those things. It's obviously unbelievably well said, and that success has followed you throughout the ranks. But just to touch on a little bit there, you talk about building those relationships, and I feel like that's kind of it's one of those parts of coaching that I think people think about but don't necessarily think about enough. Is building those relationships, and you talked about coming in having 60 individual meetings. I mean, that had to have been one of your major goals coming in here, was to talk to these athletes individually, not just as a team, because like you said, you're helping raise young men and women here, and trying to get to know them. That's only going to help that process further.
I think the most difficult part with the coaching change is you rely on your coach to take care of you and kind of guide you, and not just from an athletic standpoint, but during those 4 years as you evolve and you transform. I experienced it as an athlete myself, and I'm very grateful for the coaches that I had that helped me transform from who I was at 18 years old to where I was at 22, 23 years old and beyond. So I think the biggest challenge when there's a coaching change is knowing that you're going to still be taken care of, and that you're going to be able to find that trust, find that care, really be able to believe in yourself the same way with the new coach that you were with the previous coach. So that's been my initial goal, is just to start laying that foundation. It's not just going to happen because of one conversation. It's going to take that conversation plus my actions and then their actions as well to also make an effort on their part as well. It's a two-way street when it comes to building relationships. But that's been the goal, is just kind of express that, hey, I'm approachable. I'm a guy that if you want to be great, I'm here for whatever means you need me for. And so that's been the goal. And yes, I work in a little bit different event specialties than Coach Varenkamp. And so just reassuring that all the athletes that maybe he worked with directly, where I'm going to work more directly with the distance athletes than he did, that those athletes their needs are going to be met. We're going to get coaches in here within the next month that are going to be able to take care of them, that even though I might be not coaching their specific events, that these are the ways that I can really help you and facilitate an excellent experience here at Queens that you came here to get. And that's what it's all about, is giving them a great experience that they can leave here, be great ambassadors for Queens. And from what I understand, a lot of the success here has been because there's been a lot of awesome alumni that have gone out and kind of spread the word, or previous athletes that said, hey, Queens is the place to be. Charlotte's the place to be. You really need to talk to the coaches at Queens. So part of now what maybe the next steps are even connecting with some of the alumni. I've got to actually meet two of them here at the Coaches Association.
Awesome.
One guy works for UCS, another works international scholarship or recruiting service. So two alumni of the program I've already got to meet, and looking forward to just even meeting more alumni, because again, my time at West Texas, it was just about building those relationships, not only with athletes, the alumni, keeping it all connected and making sure that there's a value for the history and the tradition here. That's definitely something I've known ever since I was a Division II athlete myself, when Coach Simmons was the coach. So I definitely have an appreciation and understanding for the history here. And that's definitely something that I want to definitely communicate is very, very important, won't be forgotten. And we're going to be relying on some of that to kind of make sure that things keep going in the same direction, because that's an integral part of this program.
Sure, absolutely. And you mentioned earlier you as an athlete back in school, graduating from Edinburgh. Of course, you ran under Hall of Fame coach Doug Watts, and then you went on to Adams State and ran for another 30-time National Coach of the Year in Damon Martin. So you had to have learned so many different things from these guys, and I have to imagine that you use a lot of that to emulate yourself as a coach, and maybe, of course, have adopted things in your direction. But at that point, what did you learn under the tutelage of those two men and all your assistant coaches as well, what have you learned that you apply now today?
So again, I think the biggest thing that really has me wanting to be a coach and has directed me into this profession is really the way that Coach Watts and Coach Martin took time with me, understanding what my goals were and what I needed, and they really understood those needs and knew how to reach me and help me become more confident as a runner, as an individual, and really become a much better version of myself. Just bring out my best qualities, and so that experience right there told me, okay, if someone really wants to be great and you get to work with them, you give them that attention. A small school environment really helps because you can have those personable relationships with the student athletes. So I think that that's another thing that's really been a major point in our conversations with the athletes up to this point, is that small campus environment. It's great that it's in a big city as well. It provides a lot of other opportunity. But being from a small town, small school guy all the time, I love the fact that this is a small campus in the middle of a big city. So you can get that personable experience to be able to take care of every athlete on the roster that really wants to bring their best every single day. So I tell them, hey, you have equal access to me, whether you're the number 1, whether you're number 60 on the roster, you've got equal access to me until you prove otherwise, that you don't deserve that privilege pretty much. But like I said, I've been so excited with every relationship that I've started to build so far that there's not a single person on this roster that doesn't belong at Queen's University and a part of this program. So I'm really excited to be able to take that experience that I had working with my coaches at Adams State and Edinboro and be able to take care of every kid on this roster and make sure that they know that they're, like I said, cared for, that they're going to be helped out to figure out what their goals are, that you got 60 different people, you got 60 different dreams. And I'm just here to kind of guide those dreams in whichever direction that those young student athletes want to go.
Well, you mentioned earlier about the alumni base of Queens, and that's something I always said is it's a very widespread alumni, but a very tight knit community because there's graduates all over the world here for Queens. But like you said, you're trying to usher them on into that next phase of their life, whether that's continuing on running in some facet or moving on into a professional aspect as well. And it sounds like that's a major part of your philosophy. So it's a really cool thing to hear as an outsider's perspective anyway, to hear about that as a team. And, looking at your team, you come in with a lot of really good athletes. I know you said you didn't want to take credit for some stuff, but, looking ahead at the future here, coming up after the new year, you got a lot more on your plate, not just with indoor, but of course that leads into outdoor track. What are you excited for about these teams that you maybe want to tell some of the folks at home about what to look out for here as we go through the winter and then of course on into the spring?
Well, I really believe that just starting out, the biggest thing, I think maybe one of the biggest highlights, I would argue, in Queens track and field history happened this past weekend when we had 5 multi-athletes go and hit the NCAA provisional standards. So it's an outstanding group that Coach Varenkamp built here, and it's my job now to take care of those guys and make sure that they get the guidance, the resources they need so that they can – we won't be talking about December come March and May, that we don't want that to be the best moment in the season then. But if that's any indication, and with a little bit of adversity that they all faced pretty much this past semester with coaching changes and everything, for them to be able to do what they just did is outstanding. So I'm so proud to be a part of that and surrounded by people that really came together and kind of united through some adversity and made themselves better. And so that's just a testament to the student athletes that are here. So that's one group. I mean, there's on the women's side, you have a national champion in the 100-meter hurdles coming back in Melanie Welsing, Lucy Wallaker. She's a national qualifier in the high jump. And then you've got a women's cross country team that just finished 6th at the NCAA championships and is only getting better next semester. So I think that both the men's and women's programs, you got a couple boys that have national meet experience in the distance events as well, and Jan Lucas Becker and Adam Wright. I mean, there's athletes all over the place that I really am fortunate to be coming into a place that we will have success immediately. Yep. My challenge to the group though is that are we just going to go and be good and be glad to be there? Are we going to do the little things that it takes to go from being good to being great and really make a name for ourselves. So that's my goal. We're going to be good no matter what, regardless whether I was here or not. That the program is very much set up for success. But now we got to just figure out how can I help them go from being good, being at the meet, to being All-Americans, national champions, and just building on the experience that they're already set up to have.
Well, Coach, it sounds like the program is better off for having you at the helm. And so I appreciate you taking the time here, joining us. I know you got a busy weekend coming up here with the convention, but at the same time, hope you have a happy holidays. And I know it's right back to work after the new year for you guys. So thank you so much for joining us. We'll talk to you down the road.
Glad to be here.
All right. That'll do it for another edition of Get to Know the Royals right here on the Queen Sports Network. Make sure you join us across all our social media platforms and hit that like and subscribe button so you get all the freshest content right here. You guys go out and have a great rest of your day. And as always, go Royals.